भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि नहि रक्षति दुष्कृन्करणे.
Okay, so this is the first verse, and plus this is the chorus verse. So don't worry, we are not going to learn to sing, but people who like to sing can listen to it. And you can easily sing this by the end of the sixth session. I'm sure people who love to sing will learn it. It's that simple, that beautiful, that meaningful. Okay, so why is Adi Shankaracharya so tough in his verses? It's because he sees the lack of time. Okay, suppose now the house that we live in has caught fire, and you have your child, your spouse, your mother, and maybe whatever, different people in the house. How will you wake them if they're all sleeping? Will you say, my dear bacha, please get up, there is a fire in the house, we need to run? Or will you just shake them and say, run? Will you not say that? Even if it's your old mother, even if it's your beloved spouse, will you say, oh darling, will you get up? There is a fire, we need to escape. Can you call? No. How will you say? You will shout. You will say, get up. That is what Adi Shankara is doing. He is saying there is fire in the house. What is this casual attitude about? We don't see the urgency. We don't see the urgency. That is the problem with our life. We feel we'll do it later on. There is such a long span of life. We can do it 10 years later. Even the young ones, okay? I'm really glad that we have a young crowd also. See, the earlier you wake up, the better. Because as we grow old, it's difficult for us to run, right? We can barely walk. So when it is time to run, when it is time to wake up, wake up. That is what Adi Shankara is going to say from the first verse. And he is going to be tough. He will say, oh fool, get up, and all this language is there. So we are not going to say, oh fool. Adi Shankara is telling this Brahmin, oh fool, what are you doing? And when Adi Shankaracharya is saying this, he is much, much younger in physical age in front of that old man. But still, there is no softness, but there is so much compassion. Why would he otherwise, a saint, a preacher, a sannyasi, spoil his own tongue by using words like mudha? Why would he do that? He feels so much pity, so much compassion that please don't do this. Just stop all this and just worship Govinda. At this age, what are you trying to do, this circus of getting into all these complications? Just relax and what to do? Worship Govinda. Bhaja Govindam. So he is in different ways through all the verses leading us to wake up. We need to wake up. We need to understand the value of time, and that time is not forever. Everybody is going to die. Okay, every single verse. I'm just giving you a small gist so that when the verse comes, you're not actually hit as badly. Okay, because he's not going to waste a single word. Every word will be a hit. So imagine the strength of every verse. We are speaking of word. Imagine the strength of the verse. Okay, the first verse itself says Bhaja. Okay, let's understand word by word. What is Govindam? Now Govinda is the protector of the cows. That's why Krishna was called Govinda. So the one Go, okay, so the one who protects the cows is called Govinda. So here Govinda is the one supreme consciousness, the one Parabrahma who is going to protect all the beings. That is Govinda. So when they say 3 times, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaje, what does it mean? Why the repetition? So in the first Bhaja is again, let's understand first what is Bhaja. So then they say Bhaja is Bhajan. No, it's not technically Bhajan. It is worship. Okay? So worship Govinda. So worship. Now let's understand what is worship. How to worship. So there are 9 forms of ways to worship, you can say. Okay, there is Shravana, wherein you listen. So you listen to scriptures, you listen to shlokas, you listen to mantras, you listen to anything, listening. That is one form of anything in the sense, let's not get that, okay, I was listening to the story of a movie. Listening something about the divine is Shravana. Then next is Kirtana. Kirtana is where I'm singing about different names of the divine and praising the divine. Okay, so Shravana, Kirtana. Let's get all the 9. Okay, then there's Smarana, Smaranam. We all know what is Smaran. Smarana is remembering. So remembering what? What I did last year? No. Remembering all those names of the divine or the scriptures or the shlokas or the knowledge, the remembrance, the constant remembrance of the divine is called Smarana. Okay. Next is Pada Sevana. So Pada Sevan is worshipping or glorifying or praying to the feet of the Guru. That is called, or the divine. It's the same. You could be having Krishna's Paduka, Rama's Paduka, Guru Paduka, anything. Pada Sevanam. Next is Archanam. Archanam. You can take it anyway. So Archana is where you recite different hymns, Vedic hymns, and you do a bit of, Aarti and that puja or whatever you call it. Okay. Next is Vandanam. Vandanam is where you bow down, you do the Shashtang Namaskara, different ways of bowing down. That is Vandanam. Okay. Next is Dasyam. This is also one type of bhakti. So Dasya Bhakti is where I believe myself to be the servant of my Lord. Okay, this is one type of bhakti, Hanuman. Okay, Dasya Bhakti. Then next is Sakhyam. Here Arjuna and Krishna. Okay, and different people with Krishna who are like a friend or anybody for that matter, where you treat your Guru or your master or your divine like your friend. Sakha. Okay, Sakhyam. Then there is last one. Okay, Atma Nivedanam, wherein you have absolute complete surrender. Okay, complete surrender to the divine. So these are the 9 types of worship. Now each of us can choose whichever we want. There is no strict rules that you have to do this, you have to do that. Any of this we can do in this. When he says, Bhaja Govindam, we are supposed to choose one of this and do it. You can do Archana, you can do Vandana, you can do Smarana, you can do Kirtana, or you can do Shravana. Doesn't matter what you do. But some worship is absolutely important. That is the beginning. That's what he's telling. Bhaja Govindam. Okay, why 3 times? It's not like the Sanskrit scholar was deaf or something. Bhaja Govindam, first time when he says, it means seek a master, seek a guru. Okay? Next time when he says Bhaja Govindam, it means seek knowledge. And then when he says Ulta, he says Govindam Bhaje. So that means with the knowledge, I need to sit and contemplate on it. I need to reflect on it. So that is why the song goes like this. Okay? Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. This is still the first verse, first part. Okay? Mudha. In English, it is translated like, oh fool, what are you doing? You know, start worshipping Govinda, worship Govinda, worship Govinda, oh fool. That is the translation. Why would he, Adi Shankara, well, a poor, old man who is trying to learn something, okay? It's not like he was doing something nonsense. He was trying to learn something. Oh fool, what are you doing? What is he supposed to do then? That we'll understand in the next part of that same verse. It says that Samprapte Sannihite Kale. Samprapte Sannihite means we are getting closer and closer to what? Kale. Kala is death. So getting closer and closer to death, then he says, Nahi, nahi. No, it won't. Rakshati. It will not save you. It will not save you from death. Okay? What? This Dukrana Karne. Dukrana Karne is one of the texts of the Sanskrit grammar. So he is saying, you worship Govinda. Oh fool, you just worship Govinda. When the death is approaching near to you, this Sanskrit grammar is not going to save you. This is the meaning of the first verse. And here starts the hammering. Because who is a Mudha? Now when they say fool, we feel, okay, it must be some, somebody from the village and not educated, somebody, some uneducated fellow maybe. No. Uneducated fellow is not having knowledge and he knows. He will come and say, I don't understand the language, I don't know this. They know. Mudha is the one who thinks he knows, but actually doesn't know. So, Mudha is all of us who are well educated and we think we know. So, he's not addressing some poor villager who didn't get access to school and college. No. He's speaking about us well-educated people who are Mudha. See, this person who is learning Sanskrit grammar would already know Sanskrit little bit, right? At least the alphabets. Otherwise, how can he learn the grammar? So he's an educated fellow. So to an educated fellow, he's saying, oh fool. Why would he say that? It's because this grammar, this whatever we accumulate, this degrees, this whatever, education, where it makes us start feeling, I know so much, is not going to save us at the time of death. So what will save us? Just chanting Bhaj Govindam? That we need to know. Okay? Through the verses we'll find out.